Hey, hello, everyone, and welcome to the LizyT Show here on YouTube and on Facebook. So, welcome. Happy Tuesday and happy day. How are you doing today? It is Tuesday. I can't believe it is already um, uh, it middle end of January. Where has the time go? It's incredible how time is just flying so fast. I am so honored to be able to bring to you another author all the way from the States and another guest. I'm hoping that you can come and join us. The chat are open for all of you to be able to interact with us. And we're also streaming on Instagram. So it is going to be an incredible story today again, and it's going to be an incredible day. And wow, I am so happy that you are able to join us today and to be here with us. You know, learning and seeing seeing different books, ideas and stories. And my goodness, I am so excited. By the way, I just would like to thank all of you who joined. If you just joined us and you don't know who I am Lizzy. I am the host of the radio show and on TV show here on YouTube and pretty much all over social media. So you can Google LizyT.com. Our page has been revamped. I'm looking at a new look for our LizyT show because, new year, new look, and definitely new everything. So I'm hoping that you can have patience with me. The page is almost done, and I'm so excited for you to be able to see what we have prepared for you. Also, I wanted to make sure that you know that if you are interested in being a host of your own show right now, this is what we need to do. Unfortunately, here in Canada and many places in the world, we are not able to gather, we're not able to commute, we are not able to do networking events, we're not able to do pretty much anything, especially here in Canada and Ontario. And so for you to be able to have a social media presence is very important, and I want to help you with that. I'm doing a workshop, I'm doing a webinar for me to be able to teach you what I know, how you can run. If you're selling jewelry, if you're selling a book, if you're selling workshops, anything, you need to have a social media presence, and you need to have a way of people coming to you. So right now, podcast, YouTube channels are in, and you need to learn how to do it fast, because this is pretty much, it looks like this is what is going to happen throughout the year. And some people, I just actually participated myself in a webinar that we're looking at least 2 years of this. So how about get prepared? So don't forget, contact me, LizyT.com. It is my website. And also contact me if you are interested in being part of the show, because you have a song that you have just launched, a book that you want to promote, or a coaching career, a coaching business that you want to be able to talk about to people, anywhere in the world. A lot of people say, well, there's too many coaches. No, there isn't enough. There is coaches for everything and everybody. There is a coach that I can't work with, and there's coaches that I can work with. So there is enough work for everybody. Also, I would like to thank my sponsor. Thank you so much, Dr. George Grant, for sponsoring the show. I'm looking for more sponsors. He is natural path. If you are looking for solutions to your health problem, please make sure that you mentioned LizyT, and he will treat you like queens and kings that you deserve to be treated. So the website is academyofwellness.com. He is our sponsor of the LizyT Show. So thank you so much, Dr. George Grant, for sponsoring the show. By the way, you don't need to come to Canada to see him. Just book him on Academy of Wellness. It is like over the phone consultation, and is a voice recognition assessment, which is pretty incredible. Again, academyofwellness.com. Okay. I think my housekeeping, it is pretty much done. Just make sure that we are on chat right now. We do have, if you want to have questions answered right now, our chat is open. And if you would like to answer or ask questions, you could always do so. I will say hello here for you to be able to see it, because as you can see, the chat is right now open, and we'll love to chat with you if you have questions, concern, if you want to know a little bit more about the author, so forth and so on. We're here to help you and to be with you. Okay. So I will lead. I already interviewed him over the phone on our radio show, but now we want to be able to share with you the person, the beautiful face, and obviously the book. So hopefully, Robert has the book with him for us to be able to see it. And I need my glasses because I need to read. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a background for you to be able to know who I am talking about. And it's not just anyone, everyone. His name is Robert, and he was born and raised in St. Paul, Minnesota. He attended 12 years of private Catholic school. He had the honor and of being taught by the Native American, which is, I find that incredible, everyone. And he is, he's Rachel, his mentor was called a Bear. He has a great respect for all religions, which is awesome, and belief systems. And he has trouble in study, and he have left with many questions, which is good. Questions are awesome, and spiritual about the role of a woman in the church. Now, what church are we talking about? He's going to tell us. And he has great respect for all life, both human, animals, and believe that we're all definitely connected. That's pretty awesome. And I will show you in a little bit pretty much his website for you to be able to connect with him, and also for you to be able to definitely interact with us. So again, our page is open. We're here on Facebook and Instagram, and also on YouTube. So please go ahead and connect with us. And without further ado, I forgot my background music. Without wonderful round of applause, let's welcome Robert to the show.
Hello, Liz.
Hello, Robert.
Nice to see you again.
Oh my goodness. Well, we are actually seeing each other now for the very first time, because last time it was just our voice. So, yeah, it's awesome seeing you too, Robert. And it's incredible finally to be able to tell, hopefully, to more audience about your beautiful story, about your book, and about, what you've gone through, what you experienced. So let's give us a little bit of background, Robert, because we want to be able to know the person, not just the author, the business person. So is Robert married? Is Robert, does he have another job or is he retired? Give us a little bit about a background about yourself, the person.
Well, first, I want to say it's good to see you again. And hello, Toronto. Hello, Canada. We love you. My wife and I am married 22 years. My wife and I are big fans of Canada. I've traveled there many times and are going to Banff Springs this fall. So I just want to shout that out. And I want to tell you a couple of things that you nailed. You're right about, getting your help. I would endorse that. Your passion, your energy, your skills to help people grow, using social media and the different things you offer. And your sponsor, The Good Doctor. Wellness is really the key. It's not just medical, traditional anymore. It's kind of a whole wellness, a way of thinking, incorporating Eastern and Western, medicine is my belief. I'm not sure all about the doctor, but those are good words and good deeds being done by you and your sponsor. I just wanted to say that. Me personally, married 22 years, first book. I'm a passionate lover of the outdoors and nature. I was blessed to work at the Boundary Waters in Minnesota, which is this great park, as you know. Quetico is the Canadian side of it. And I went up as a 17-year-old, and my first job was cleaning the boats out and raking the sand for the guests. But I got to be a fishing guide towards the end of my stay, and that really influenced me tremendously. Spending three months plus up in the Canadian and Minnesota woods, and learning from nature. And I just have a great reverence for the lessons nature can teach us, and that's kind of going to be my next book, actually, that I am working on. It's life and business lessons learned from nature. And they really,
Wow, that's
what I'm going to share in that book is, I was a scuba diver, on my way to be a professional welder of oil rigs, but I changed my path. But in that process, I did a lot of deep, training, and I was swimming one
mhm.
time and barracuda surrounded me. So I had a real experience being surrounded by a pack of barracuda. Well, what did I learn from that? I learned that you slow down, you fit into your environment, you mimic, it's kind of what they're doing. You don't panic, you don't flash anything. So I use that as an example in a boardroom. If you're a little outnumbered, kind of learn from the barracuda. Just slowly swim with them until you swim your way out. Well, I wrestled a bear at a sports show. I learned the lessons from the bear, truly. I had a wolf in the woods hit me in the leg and look at me in the middle of a blizzard. These are real stories. And I learned something from the wolf. And so those will be my next book, if you will. So,
For
you're right
sure.
about
I
the
mean,
Native
how
Americans.
can
Yeah.
you
I'm sorry.
how, for sure, how can you keep those books to yourself? It's just really, really not fair for us to know a little bit more about that. But let's talk about the
Yeah.
book that you wrote. Do you have any native background at all, or it's just you just like the native culture, the North American native culture? Because living in Saskatchewan, right on top of Minnesota, the culture there is very native, and actually I was confused for native North American myself, being from a Latin background. So we're all native regardless, right? But do you
Right.
have any native background yourself, Robert?
No, it's funny you asked that, and thank you for bringing me back, because I tend to drift. That's a creative part of me. The truth is, I'm the middle child of 7 kids. I was blessed to live about 5, 6 blocks from the Mississippi River. So I played down there all the time, and I just had an affinity for nature and the river, and started reading about Native Americans. And, but I was raised Catholic, and nobody else in the family has any connection, to natives. Nobody taught me anything. I just gravitated towards it naturally. Crazy Horse always spoke to me, his story, when I saw the
Mm.
monument and I read the stories about Sitting Bull and some of the great leaders. And I just had great reverence for their wisdom, their thinking, and most of all, their respect for all of life, and how everything from the blade of grass to the rabbit to the hawk to the human, the four-leggeds, they call them, and the two-leggeds, have a purpose, and we should all know that. That just spoke to me as a young
Yes.
boy. So I don't really have any mentoring. I figured it out on my own. Library stories, just loved it.
Wow, that's pretty incredible, Robert. That is pretty good. So let's get to the nitty gritty here. We're here to talk about a very incredible book that you just launched, and it's called JC. So can you tell, without giving it away, because we want to make sure people run and go to Amazon or to your website and order the book, but just a little preview of what JC is all about.
Well, and Barnes and Noble also. JC, A Heroine's Journey is the full name. And I want to quantify what you said earlier, that 12 years of private education. And I very, with a little humor, say it was 8 years too many. And I mean that in a sense of I was after about 4 or 5 years and learning Catholicism, I asked other questions. I was just curious. There's more. There's got to be more out there. And then I kind of came across Buddhism. I came across Native Americans, shamanism, and other things kind of coming into my life. Going, well, Catholicism is one, but there are many religions, and I have great reverence for them all, and there's a place for them all. And so that's kind of the journey. But the one I can speak to the most, having the most exposure to, is Catholicism. And the one thing I noticed as a young boy, being a middle child of seven, either side of me were sisters. I had an older sister, Marilyn, younger sister, Deborah, and they weren't allowed to be altar, people, altar boy. I could be, but they couldn't be, altar women. And they weren't allowed to do a lot of things that I was allowed to. And also, I thought, well, why can't they share the mass, and why are they not celebrated as strongly as males are in the Catholic Church, and I think other religions too, but I can't speak to that as well as I can Catholicism. So I just kind of wrote the book with that question in mind, and again with a little bit of humor, reverence for sure, and I want to start a dialogue of why not? Why can't women be more equal? And they will be with someday. But since I've seen you, Liz, there's an article. I know no one's going to be able to see this, but I printed it out. Pope Francis says women can read at Mass as a debate on women clergy continues. The papal decree formalizes common practice, but Pontiff doesn't address whether women can serve as deacons yet. This just came out. So he's even in the 2,000-year-old church with their strict rules are even starting to see, maybe it's time for us to celebrate women as equals in the church in every aspect. Cardinals, why not? Why not a woman pope? That's part of my premise here. And I see no reason why not personally. I'm sure there'll be lots of thoughts. I will say this, and I always do. I'm not a theologian. I did not study at a seminary. I'm telling you, most everybody listening to me probably knows a lot more about the Bible and different, teachings than I do. I'm an observer. That's all I am. And I saw these things, and I believe in equity and equality, and I believe that in everybody's rights, not just women. And that's kind of what I'm championing. And I want to just get a talk going. Let's talk about it. What are your thoughts? Why do you think it has to be male? That's all.
And we talked about this on our the radio show too, that if we look at Esther, we look at Deborah, we looked at Mary Magdalene, many women are very, very important in the Bible, and they were used in a huge way. We're talking Deborah, we're talking Ruth. Jesus spoke to Mary Magdalene first after he resurrected. So absolutely, I agree with percent. And in God's eye, we are equal. We're not Black, we're not Native, we're not Latino, we're not women. We're all equal. And I can agree with you more. Absolutely. So I was actually going to ask you, what's the inspiration of you doing the book, which you probably just answered. No, you got inspired about writing this book. Mainly because of a woman, right? And I guess it was your daughter, or your sister, rather, your sisters. And but can you tell my audience here, what else inspired you to write this book?
Well, I guess the original, and I mentioned it last time we chatted, was I saw the classic minivan go by with a classic Jesus kind of hair, that long straight hair. And I said, wow, that looks like Jesus driving a minivan. And I pulled up alongside and I saw it was not a male, but it was a female. And I saw that she had kids going to soccer, there's soccer stickers. And, I've been taught about the Christian principles, the Christianness. And I thought, there's the real Christian, manifesting the real Christian traits. So just use those principles. That's the true work of being a Christian or a good person. And that's kind of all I'm trying to say. I don't think we have to overthink this.
No, absolutely. And even that, the concept, I've been learning that even the concept of being a good person, that is actually not really good enough, because we're No one is. And even the Bible said, and Jesus said, what do you call me good? There's none good, none. Like this is, I'm quoting the Bible. There's
Right.
none good but one, which is God. So even when we try to be a good person, we can't even compare because we have fault, we fail, we lie, we steal, we don't mean to be mean and hateful, but sometimes we are. So only in that sense, trying to be good is not going to be good because you can't be good, which is, we just try to strive to the examples of Jesus Christ. And obviously, JC brings that up. Now, we were talking about you writing other books, and obviously you haven't, but we were talking about animals. So this is definitely, JC is definitely your very first book, and you just alluded that you will be working in other ones. So this is definitely your very first one. It's very successful. I've seen the reviews, people talking about it, and the reviews on your website. So this is because it looks like you have a lot of experience. So I mean, you wrote earlier, we were talking about, and on the radio show that you wrote earlier, but this is your very first book?
Yes, ma'am. This is my first book. I've been writing poetry and little short stories for a long time. I tell the tale that what got me started on writing was in eighth grade. There was a contest in the English class to write a story, a fiction, whatever you wanted. And I wrote the 13th task of Hercules, where there's traditionally only 12. So I made up a 13th task and I won the contest. And I guess that kind of started me going, oh, good, this is fun. And so, and I really haven't done anything formal with it outside of this book. And to answer your question from the beginning, I am a licensed real estate broker in Minnesota. So that's another part of different part of my life is, I'm involved with real estate and development and do some things along those lines. So, I guess I say that to people too. You can do many things. You can be anything you want, a lawyer, and also be the most creative person in the world. Or, they don't have to be exclusive of each other. I always encourage both sides, have a business, have a hobby, and also have a creative outlet. Why not?
Absolutely.
It makes it fun.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I assume things are not as hard in Minnesota when it comes down to the close down. You're still able to go out and sell homes, show homes. So how is the situation? Just changing a little bit of, from our main topic
Right.
here. How is the situation in Minnesota when it comes down to as a real estate person?
Well, good question. I am actually in commercial, so I do larger projects, not homes
Mm.
necessarily. But I'll answer it this way. This is where we differ from my friends up to the North, Canada. We are, our states, obviously 50 states, they're all differently
Mhm.
regulated because they're independent in that way. So Wisconsin is very open. You can go over there and go to a bar and, they have, distancing, but not overly. But they were wide open the whole time. Minnesota restaurants weren't. So it depends on where you
Oh,
go.
wow.
Yeah, and and here's a fun story. I was doing a deal at a shopping mall, and there was nowhere else to sit but Santa's play yard that they were setting up for the kids. There was no other seating because the coffee shops are closed, the restaurants are closed. So I have a picture of me sitting with two other brokers, and there's Santa in the background, and there's elves and stuff, and that's the only place we could find to sit that was open in Minnesota. So it really depends
Yes.
where you are. You go to Florida, pretty wide open. They didn't shut down a whole lot. So, it varies. I think what we're going to see now with tomorrow, an inauguration of Biden, new president, he is saying 100 days of everybody wearing a mask is what he's saying, as a federal
Mm.
mandate. So it changes here. It's different state to state. It's complex. We all know that. We all have to take it daily. The data changes. We have people like Fauci and different people working on it, but the data is always kind of changing. They're learning more. Now they have a
Mhm.
vaccination that seems to be maybe possibly going to help. It sure sounds like it. I hope so. But I say stay tuned. I'm a big believer in science. I'm a big believer in creativity of the human race. So we're all working on this. Canada's working on it. America's working on it. Europe's working on it. We all are working on it because we all have the same battle. And so I'm a big believer, and I'm betting
Yes.
on the human race. The human race will figure it out, all of us, and we're going to come through this. And I would say by late spring, early summer, we're going to see some really good relief for all of us. That's my thinking and prediction. Let's see what happens.
Hey everyone, it's Lizzie. I just shut off the Instagram for you to be able to come here on YouTube and on Facebook to join us. So that was just a little teaser there for people that are watching on Instagram. They're wondering, why is that shut off? Because I want you to come and comment and be in here. I'm Lizzie, for the ones that don't know, just to this channel, and I am the host and one of the producers of the LizyT Show here on YouTube and on Facebook Live and pretty much all over the platform. I'm here with international for us because we're in Canada. He is all the way in beautiful Minnesota, which I know because I used to live in Saskatchewan. And so he is the author of an amazing book, an interesting book, a very great story for you to be able to check it out. It's called JC, and I'm going to share right now his website for you to be able to check it out and see what I'm talking about. So this one, the website is called meetjc.com. You can take a look. Here I am with the LizyT Show radio, and definitely the book is very, very interesting, and lots of good information. And again, I'm speaking to Robert, and Robert is the author. So take a look, everyone. Here is the website. meetjc.com is the website. So I'm hoping that you can check it out and order your copy for sure. So, Robert, when it comes down to writing styles, I mean, you have your own, obviously, but other than your own style, which is awesome, who else do you look up to? Who else do you admire? Is there what is your favorite author and why?
Great question. I'm a big fan of Ernest Hemingway. I guess it's the outdoor kind of, guy. And Snows of Kilimanjaro is one of my favorite books. And Hemingway changed writing for as far as I was taught and learned. Yeah, like for an example, before that, someone would write about cowboys had a kettle of beans on. That's what they'd say. Well, the cowboys put a kettle of beans on. Well, Hemingway would say there was a kettle of beans and the juices were bubbling up and the sugar was coming over the cauldron. And, he'd get very descriptive about every little thing. And that just was kind of a new way to write. And he's credited with some of that, renaissance of writing. Steinbeck, same thing, The Grace of Wrath. Love that. Cannery Row. I'm kind of like the old classic writers. I love the Snows of Kilimanjaro, though, because the premise is there's a leopard goes up on top of Kilimanjaro and freezes to death. And there's no reason for him to be up there. There's no food there. It's not a natural thing for him to do. Well, the premise is stated that he's looking for something like we all are, his spirit. He's looking for God. That's kind of weaved into the story, which always caught my attention as a 10-year-old boy when I first read it. I just thought it was fascinating. Nature, God, spirit.
Oh,
So
definitely Hemingway is one of my yeah, Hemingway is definitely one of my favorites too. Absolutely, and really enjoy all he's writing. So, for everyone you're watching right now, this is I'm Lizzie. By the way, if you just tuned in, we're here live. Chats are open if you would like to chat with us. We're here on Facebook Live, on my fan page, and here's the book. It's a beautiful cover of the book. So for you to be able to see JC, this is a revised second edition, and JC, A Heron's Journey by Robert Kowalkski. Is that how you pronounce your last name?
Robert Kowalski. If you ever saw Streetcar
there
Named
you have
Desire,
it.
Streetcar Named Desire with Marlon Brando, the classic Tennessee Williams play and book. That's Stanley Kowalski. So that's how you can remember it. They use this.
Well, thank
Marlon Brando plays Stanley Kowalski in The Streetcar Named Desire. And that brings me to a point I want to get in, Liz. My ultimate goal is I really would like to see this get produced to the screen. I think there's a really good tale here that could be either a series, a mini series, or a movie. And I use the example of The Breakfast Club, which was a huge hit, that kind of brought different types of kids together. And then they realized why they're doing detention. We all know the story, that they're more alike than different. And I see that this could be another one of those ways to show that we're a lot more alike than we are different. And in the world right now, we seem to be kind of, lately anyway, which is moving away from us now, but, focusing on differences rather than commonalities. And I like to see us look back onto what we're more alike and how we can help each other grow. We shouldn't, we don't have to be so afraid of each other. You don't have to be right all the time too. You can have a dialogue and you can have your opinion, and it can be they can totally disagree somebody, and that's okay. And they can have their opinion and you can still be friends. That's the thing I really like to see. And I work, work on all of that. And I think that if we ever got a chance to bring this to the screen, those are the things I'd like to show and help teach and just impart. You can have a total different opinion than your best friend and still be best friends. You don't have to just hang with like-minded people. That's where the world gets really interesting, is go and talk to people that are totally different than you and ask why they think the way they do without judgment and without saying, well, you got to go my way. No, they don't. They got the rights to their thinking. I think we just all have a right to our own beliefs, and we should respect that. That would be a big message that I would really like to see us further, talk about. And JC does that in the book. And I think a series or a movie could really, really bring some interesting scenarios together to get people thinking about, how to love each other and how to make it fun and hip to be spiritual, make it cool to be a spiritual kid, not just athletic or, academic, but also your spirituality, that's a big part of us. We'll mentor that. And there's all kinds of different ways of being spiritual. There's not just one way.
And we talked about on the radio show that it's not one of your dreams too, or your goals, or your what you will love about your book. The result coming out of your book is not only to take it to the big screen, but also include this into perhaps the school curriculum. I think it would be great if you could, somehow, talk to school directors or even the school boards in Minnesota to start there to try to incorporate the teachings into the school curriculum, because I'm telling you, the part of, we talked about the part of being genuine, being true to yourself, that is going away. Kids are on their phones all the time, portraying themselves as somebody that they're not because of social. Social to them is just a new outlet to show somebody, that they're probably not sometimes. So, I mean, we talked about that. So can you elaborate, that part of your dream again, to be able to bring this to the school?
Well, thank you, Liz. You're just a really good interviewer. I'm going to tell you that. I forgot to mention it, and it's very important. Yes, there's a workbook that I have created that goes with the book. It follows the chapters, and it's free. You download it through the website. And so as you're reading the book, you can have your class, your book club. You can do this virtually. You can work through read the book. And then, like, for an example, one of the questions as she goes, what similarities do you find in Jesus's birth and in JC's birth? So it just starts to get you talking. And then another question is, what are the key businesses in the town of Serenity? What makes this town special? What makes small business special? And I ask these questions that you answer, and there's actually a whole sheet, and there's places to fill in an answer that kind of creates a dialogue that you can share with other classmates, or you could do online, or you can do a book club, and it's all there for you. So I've kind of done the work. If you want to give that a try, there's no extra cost again to add the workbook experience, so you can share. Well, yeah, I grew up in a small town, and small business was our and it kept our, it changed when Walmart came in, Walmart, and all of a sudden the small businesses closed. I mean, those are kind of dialogues you can talk about, and the workbook prompts you to, ask some questions about what's going on now and what did you read in the book, and you may see something in the book totally different than someone else. They go, oh, I didn't see it that way. I saw JC was meaning this. Well, great. Start talking. So thank you for asking that. That's a big part of what I do see
Mm,
happening. Yes, I'd like to see happening. I think
and
it'd be a
my
good
pleasure.
platform.
Yeah, I think yeah, my pleasure. I think it's definitely important bringing it up. By the way, everyone, if you look at the screen right now, I'm sharing with everyone the website again is meetjc.com. Meetjc.com. I should have that on our link. And also, there is right now the page you're able to see. This is the front page, everyone. It's a beautiful page, and obviously, right on the right at the bottom, right up the bottom, if you can see, I'm scrolling down. So I'm giving you the tips for you to be able to go there yourself. There is a JC workbook PDF, and there's a button that you can download the workbook and start working it on your own, which is phenomenal. So again, I want to be able to show you the book for you to be able to see whenever you go to Barnes and Nobles or Amazon, or even right here on his website. That's the cover, and for you to be able to know what book I'm talking about, so that way you don't get confused. Beautiful, beautiful. So Robert, who did you say that they're the major influence in your life? Who inspires you to write, to do what you do? And I'm hoping that the wife comes up in here, but maybe part of it. We need to, happy wife, happy life. That's what they say.
True.
So can you tell us about that?
Well, thank you. My wife is an extraordinary person. She has an MBA in marketing, works for a large company, and is just an exceptionally talented person. Very grounded, much more than I am. That's how opposites attract, right? And she's a good writer herself. She's a sommelier, so she has a degree in wine, and she has written wine articles and been on wine magazines. I will answer too. My mother, Betty, just this wonderful woman. Again, 7 kids, 2 years apart, kids running everywhere. But one thing she instilled in me was she was very creative, and she loved the arts. She had a great respect for the arts and music and the movies. And I remember on Oscar night, sitting on the floor eating popcorn and apples. That was the big thing. And watching the Oscars with her when I was a 6, 7-year-old boy. And I just couldn't be happier. And I fell in love then with the movies. And she was a can dancer, for a show for raising money. So she had that, but she's a mom of 7 kids. And but I give her a lot of credit. I had an aunt that was an entertainer, a Polish entertainer, and I just always was drawn to those personalities. So I have to say they influenced me quite a bit. And family members, all different talented. My sister paints. There's talent everywhere. Everybody has a talent too, Liz. I will say that there's so much shyness. People go, oh, I can't write. Oh, I can't draw. How do you know? The biggest thing is don't stop yourself. And you're not, more than likely, I'm not going to be Hemingway and you may not be Rembrandt, but we sure can have fun trying and do what we do and just have an outlet. It's like I encourage, as you know, to write poetry. In my book, JC is a poet. That's how God finds her. An angel brings a poem to God that JC wrote. Well, in my workbook, I encourage kids, everybody write a poem. Write your own poem. There's no judgment. There's no winner in a sense of what's your poem. You'd be amazed how much talent and people have never done any writing at all go, oh, geez, that came out pretty good. So don't ever stop yourself. I'll say this, sadly, the world will slow you up enough. Don't do it to yourself. Be your own best friend. And criticism, there's plenty of it out there. Don't you do that to yourself. Try these things and have fun with it. Paint, poetry, writing, dance, whatever. If you've never done it, but you always wanted to, I'm encouraging you to do it. Believe me, I'm a good example. Like I say, a real estate broker, just a regular guy, like sports, all the things, And I got a book out. Now it took me a long time, 10 years, but just stayed at it. And, you know, I just encourage that.
Mm-hmm. Love it, love it. That's pretty amazing. So Robert, one of the what would you say is one of the best things about being a writer, other than the publicity, the radio, being on talk shows, being on podcasts, being on the internet? I mean, it's not all the famous and all that, but what do you see? What do you bring out of it? And I have an idea, what you're gonna say, but I want to hear it from you. What is the most uh, incredible part of being a writer?
Well, I mean, I can't let you get away with that. One of the biggest parts of the people I have met on the journey, like yourself. It's just been marvelous to get and talk to somebody in Canada with your skills and talent and your love and your large vision. That's a great reward of this journey. I'm meeting people from LA and Germany. I've just kind of had some wonderful interludes with people I wouldn't have in my normal everyday life. um, and then other writers too, sharing their journey. And I've learned a lot about the business of writing. I can tell you, just like any business in the world, there's things that are honest. There's honest people that want to help you, and there's other people out there saying, "Hey, give me this amount of money, and I'll promote your book," and you never see them again. So there's pitfalls you learn. You learn about life. It's a journey unto itself, and it stretches your intellectual muscle and your human spirit muscle in a different direction than my core business would have, like real estate. So there's a lot of blessings. I feel very fortunate to have given and be a messenger with this tale. I hope that it does, do some good. I always said if it can help one young girl or young guy or any age stop for a minute, go, hey, let me change my direction. I'm not heading down the right path. If it helps one person, then I'm very successful. I'd be elated to know that happened. So
Uh, I I'm with you 100%, and that's one of the reasons I do this show, is just to be able to one person in this beautiful world that our God has created, because that to make it different in one person, then that's really what I was hoping to on your answer is to be able to help someone out there. Fame comes and now I'm like, being on TV and being on the radio doesn't mean anything, and a lot of authors really answer that question and saying not being on in the media doesn't mean anything, but being able to get the amazing reviews which you do on your book, that I think must have feel like $1 million. There's no money that you can put in the response from people that are reading your book, that are getting something out of your story, that they're being changed, that they're being moved, that things happen in their life because of your story. That is worth anything, more than anything in this world. So I appreciate you, and I appreciate you being here, sharing so much information with us. And one of the things that that I wanted to ask you, and you kind of answered it, what you're trying to accomplish. Obviously the biggest goal is to be able to write a big have this as a big screen movie, perhaps going to school boards and having people's life change. Do you ever expected, Robert, to have this kind of success? Because in my eyes you are definitely very successful already, but did you ever expect to have this kind of response from your book? I know this is a second version and you revamped it, but does it, do you wake up sometimes and you're thinking, wow, this is surreal sometimes? I'm in Canada doing the LizyT Show.
yeah. Well, that's a great question. I'll say, the first people to read it were family or people that knew me. And they're the most, like, well, why did you write that? Why didn't you write this? And I'm like, okay, thanks, guys. I think it really settled in for me where I did, have a smile. And it was when I read some reviews from total strangers. And the reviews, like on Goodreads, I mentioned last time, if you go to Goodreads, just Google it. I have 300 reviews
Mm-hmm.
currently, and I have some on Barnes and Noble and such. But when I read some reviews that were total strangers from different parts of the world. And I said, wow, they got it. That's what I was trying to say, basically. They all had different interpretations of my story, which was very exciting because there's not just one way to understand my stories. There's many things going on. But that was rewarding and made me smile. And I thought, wow, that's pretty good. Someone in Canada, someone in Germany, like I said, or Europe and Spain and Florida. I've had feedback, and that was fun. I will say that I enjoyed that immensely. And I just really appreciate those people writing those reviews and supporting the book and the story. And some of the stories are great. Like one gentleman said his daughter and him were not close, and then he gave her the book because she was in that teenage period where I don't need you, Dad, and all that kind of anti-authority and trying to find her own way. And he said the book brought them back together because they started talking about the book, and somehow it kind of got them back to a communication again instead of drifting apart, which happens to teenagers. So I've been there. I was that way for sure. I think a lot of us can relate. So those are rewarding, feedback. I do appreciate all of that from all of you who have done that.
Mhm. Absolutely. And again, it must make you feel like $1,000,000, to be able to hear from people that you've never met before, and it makes it all worthwhile because about being genuine here, being truthful. I mean, writing a book is one thing, but actually getting the work done and getting that cover, which you guys are seeing right now, done, that's a completely different story. For some people it's very easy, others is definitely not. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of trials, and this cover, that cover, and send it to the publisher, self-publish. The work, it's work, period. And but once you get the final product and the book is out there and people are being very receptive and very happy with you're very happy with the final product, that's like we talked about, that it's like giving birth.
Yeah,
The
right,
pains are
right.
really tough. Once the baby is out, once the book is out, I'm like, oh, finally. By the way, guys, the book, you can find it right here also on his website. I just posted. Meetjc.com is the website for you to be able to get a hold not only of the book, but also of Robert, if you would like to ask questions or interact with him, or perhaps you want to have your own idea of writing. I'm running workshops to teach other people how to do podcasts and all that. Have you ever thought, Robert, of running workshops and teaching people how to write books?
No, I haven't. Thank you for that question. I have not got to that point. You bring up some great questions and really thoughtful questions. I want to go back to a statement. It is work. There's no illusion about it. It's a lot of work. This took me years, to get it from concept and script and ideas. And then to your point, then put it all together, get it edited, get a cover. I use this metaphor. It's like climbing 1,000 steps. They take one at a time, one at a time, one at a time. You'll get there. You don't jump in an elevator and push a button and get a free ride to the top. Maybe that happens, once in a while to somebody that's just like brilliant genius, Harry Potter, that kind of thing that just boom hits. But for most of us, humble humans, it's a one step, next step, next step. And then you can build something very strong and real, but have patience and, believe in yourself. And I can tell you, be okay with no, because another thing you got to learn in any kind of creative endeavor. I've sent this out to people for production. No, it's not quite our story. Too religious or not, we're not sure where it fits, and I'm like, okay, and I have no problem with a no. That's a good one to learn because you're going to get them. I don't care who you are, and you can name any creative, successful person. They know about how, no, they've been told no before they got the yes that they wanted. So you got to just have some self-belief and do it for the right reasons and have patience, and have support like wonderful Liz here. meet some good people along the way that God will put in your path, and you'll find each other that support your journey, and be symbiotic about it. Support hers too. Whoever helps you, help them. That's how the good stuff
Mm-hmm.
grows. That's how gardens grow. You help each other. So
And I'm
uh,
happy. I'm happy that you're being honest and open, and for people not to think that, it's easy, because everything in life, Robert, as you know, it takes
yes.
work, it takes time, takes dedication, and being definitely passionate about it. The word is dedication and work. And a lot of us sometimes, are tired of going through the rhythm, and then nothing happened. And especially when you're saying right now that you've gotten to a screen writers and people, to have this book become a movie, and you've gotten no's. And I'm telling you, it's probably going to be 1,000 no's for one yes, because that's really, the situation. And a lot of people say, Lizy, why don't you take your show to a cable company? And I've actually, done that, and I've gotten many no's, and I got one yes. And I thought, you know what? They will tell me what to do, what to say, how long for. And I don't like that. I like to be in control. I'm a little bit of a control freak. I
Oh, good
like
for
to
you.
know, I like to exactly. I want to be able to have control, and say who I want to have on the what questions I want to ask. And if it's, religious, it's okay. It's okay, because that's really who I am. I want to be able to continue to be genuine. It's the same thing for you. I know that you want to be able to keep, the pattern that you've established for yourself, for your book, and being genuine is a huge part of who you are. And I really appreciate that, Robert. And I really value for continuing to be true to yourself, which in this world, we're losing more and more. And I think that's why your book is a great, great opportunity to have our kids going back the basic, being honest and being genuine, and if follow the commandments, do not lie, do not steal. Those are basic. I mean, if you want to become religious, those are the basics thing of this world. You go to jail if you steal. If you go to jail if you lie. So anyhow, Robert, one of the things that I wanted to want you to think about is definitely, giving back, and you already do that a lot. But doing workshops and teaching, especially young kids or other, how to write, I think it's going to be a great benefit for you, and an added bonus for what you do in your book, obviously. So maybe you should think about it. Food for thought. Food for thought.
Well, let me say something.
So,
Yeah.
Robert,
Hello.
go ahead.
Well, I just want to say you're so insightful. You know, a lot of inspiration too is the basic stories of Jesus. You talked about basics. Well, Jesus walked around in the desert in a robe and sandals. He had no money. He didn't, none of that mattered to him. And he just cared about people and the outcasts. Everybody was included. No one was left out in his message. And it wasn't about gold and power and position. And one of my thinkings is if he came back today with his robe and his sandals and walked into the Vatican and saw the amount of wealth that the Vatican has accrued, and God bless them, but they have the world's largest art collection. That's kind of talked about in the book, and they're one of the largest landowners. He'd say, this isn't quite what I was meant by the bowel poverty or just helping people, and everybody was included with him. Well, in the church, some gays can't, certain rights and different things like that. And I'd say, well, this isn't kind of what Jesus meant. And I think if he came back now, he'd go, yeah, you might have missed my message a little bit, and it's good to have a place to worship, and I understand that. But that's kind of part of the basics too. And what's the simplicity of his messages? He spoke to like children, to people like children, and the parables and the tales, simple, not as complex. And it wasn't all about, position and money and power and all kinds of things. So I love you. I love you so much. You're so insightful, and you ask such great questions. and you intuitively know. You intuitively know things. I think that very much. I do. I'm telling the truth.
Yeah.
I can't help it. Sorry,
You
but
know what? You know what? We inspire each other. It's mutual here. So not to worry. You inspire me and I inspire you. So this is great. So who would you say is the best target market for your book? I mean, who will be the best people of reading this book for them to learn more? Is it more adults, more young people, or all ages?
well, ideally, I'd like to think all ages, but the primary reach, I think, would be the high school. From eighth grade to senior and high, that kind of age. I think it really speaks to because that's where JC, is, and she plays soccer with her friends and is going through things at that kind of time of life. But I see this eventually, as she grows up, and turns in more into an adult. There's more lessons that'll be more adult connected. But yeah, basically a high school. I'd like to reach the high school crowd. I think they're the most, the ones that are have the most to offer. They're the next generation, and they're easily lost sometimes. Self-esteem issues are a big deal, and where do you fit in? Are you the cool girl or are you a geek kid? All those kind of judgments that they have to go through in those areas. We've all been there. I'd like to just give them something to hang on to and talk about and think about and share with each other and break down some of those barriers of that we're all spiritual and we're all cool and we all got something to offer. And I just really like to see that kind of message get through. I'd love to see it be taught to those that age kids in classes, religious or spiritual classes. I deem this to be more spiritual than religious by far. That's why spirituality is more inclusive. I think religion has more dogma, and it's this way or no way. It's heaven and hell. That always gave me trouble. That's kind of like pass or fail. Yeah, I want a little more room like that. I mean, a little more freedom. So, I deem this to be a spiritual tale, and the rise of the feminine spirit. And I say it this way too: the rise of women does not mean the fall of men. We're in this together.
Hmm.
It's not combative, and it's not, oh, now it's women, it's time. Well, it's all time, and we just want to be equals. I just don't get why we're not equals. I never did get that. I never will. Any of us, like you say, man,
Hmm.
woman, whatever color, black, white, native, not. How does that matter? Your spirit's your
Hmm.
spirit, and your being's your being. What
Hmm.
matters is your
Absolutely.
integrity and your soul. So that's just a
That's
huge
right.
message to me.
The soul has definitely not can be identified, and it doesn't really belong to us. It belongs to him. So I completely understand and get, and I'm hoping that you're able to get it too, everyone. We are starting to. My goodness, we've been here for an hour already. It
That went
doesn't like
fast.
it. It feels just, I know, it feels like we're just, having a great conversation with a great author. I hope you enjoy it too, everyone. The website, as you can see it on the screen, is jc.com. And obviously, the book looks like this for you to be able to see it. And it's right here. So, Jason, revised edition, in JC, A Heron's Journey. Love the cover. And the author is here with us, sharing lots and lots of good information, his life, how he came about writing this book and the stories, nature and spiritualism, and the list goes on. So get your copy right now, everyone. If you share this video with anyone, mention, hey, I heard and I saw him on the LizyT Show. One person, my job is complete. I am fulfilled. That's really what I do this for, is to be able to, enlighten people all over the world. And I'm here with another amazing guest to give you that inspiration that you need. Just one little thing that we said here was able to inspire you. I'm so happy. I'm so happy. So Robert, again, it's been an hour. I love our conversation. I wish we can keep going a little farther, but I hate to be cut off here. But any last word, my friend? It was again a pleasure and honor to have you here. See your amazing face, your wife probably, just watching or will be watching in the background later on. And love to hear any little thoughts from you.
Well, thank you. It's been a great joy and a blessing to meet you. And I feel I have a new friend now across the border. Really, truly do. And I want to stay in touch. And I just think the world of you and what you're doing too. So that's it. I just stay safe and keep doing that great work you're doing. And if anybody wants to talk to me about endorsing you or who you are, I sure will. Put my name behind you, and
Oh,
my experience with you has been extraordinary, and you've been just
oh,
more. You've given me more value than I've asked for, and that's a key to success. Giving more than was asked for. So you've been extraordinary. I can't thank you enough.
oh, oh. You're gonna make me cry so much,
I
Robert.
give
It's
you a big
been a
hug,
pleasure
virtual
again,
hug.
an honor.
This is a virtual hug for
Yes,
you.
yes, virtual hugs. It's been a pleasure and honor. Thank you so much for being here with us today, and we'll talk to you soon. We'll be in touch. And
Yes.
everyone, check it out. The book is right here for you to be able to get your copy. And again, connect with Robert. Any question, you can send it to me. LizyT.com is my website. Or again, you can always connect with meetjc.com. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much, Robert. We'll see you soon. Bye
All right.
bye.
Thank you, my friend.
Wow. Wow. That's it, everyone. Thank you so much. This has been a pleasure to have. Again, we had him on the LizyT Show on the radio, but it's we had to bring him back here on our show, and I'm so to be able to actually see his face, because radio is one thing and video is something different. So I'm hoping that you enjoy our conversation. Don't call it interview anymore, because we're just talking. That's really the theme of the show is, tell me who you are, what you do. It's right here. Contact info, anything new. So check it out, everyone. And meetjc.com is the website. We will be back, everyone, with another show.